Hi. How are you guys? Double feature. What is this? It's so interesting because I have been going live twice a week consistently for like a month now. And I had it in two different sections. So I was going live on Instagram to talk about like the stuff that I was posting on Instagram, but then I was posting other stuff on my Facebook business page and on YouTube. And so I was just like, you know what? There has to be a way. There has to be a way. So I'm praying that the two cameras that I like aligned to each other so that I could kind of like not have to keep moving my face. I'm praying that they don't fall. And if they do, I'm sorry, guys. We're going to fix it. This is how it happens when it's live. So, hi, everybody. I hope I don't like, I'm afraid to touch my screen because I'm afraid that it's going to like affect the two cameras. We got to work it out. Okay. We are going back to basics. I remember when I first started my YouTube channel in 2015, they did not have ring lights. Okay. They did not have holders and stands and things that you could like set up. They didn't have it. They had like professional camera tripods. I had a weak butt iPhone. I don't even know what iPhone 6, iPhone 5, something like that. Crazy, and we made it work. We went to Five Below. I remember this like it was yesterday. Kyle and I was so frantic about starting my YouTube channel because I put like a promo out, and I was like, I'm gonna have something. I'm gonna have a YouTube video tomorrow, but that was just to buy me time, right? And so we went to Best Buy and we were like, do maybe we should get like a GoPro, or maybe we should like find out get like a tripod for a GoPro. And I was like, I don't have money for that. Like, we need to like figure this out. And Kyle was like, I got it. We went to Five Below and we bought a car phone holder, a suction cup car phone holder, and we suction cupped that bad boy onto a window. And I sat in front of that window on a kitchen stool with like a quilted blanket as my backdrop, and then eventually the blanket turned into like a wrinkled white sheet. Like, it was humble beginnings. Okay. So if my camera is shaky or if something happens, we're going to fix it and we're going to keep it moving, because just like Tony Stark and Iron Man, every suit gets better every time we find a weakness. We're just going to get stronger, better, and it's going to be amazing. So that's my backstory. Thank you guys for joining me so much. If you are watching me on Instagram, thank you guys for joining me. If you're watching me on Facebook or YouTube, you guys, I love all of these communities. I love being here. Let me make sure I have my YouTube community comments open in case people are responding to me. Hi, how are you? Happy, what is it? Wednesday. Happy hump day. I feel like this week has been so long, and we are just finally like about to land the plane into the weekend. And probably the reason why is because I'm getting ready to we're going to go on a family trip. If you're anywhere in Ohio, you know about Mohican. It's like a canoeing camping site. We're going to have some fun. We're going to do, it's going to be great with the kids and all that. It's going to be exhausting, but that's what we're leading into. And so before I get into that mindset of like family trip, I wanted to be sure to join you guys here tonight and talk to you guys again, because I just feel like yesterday the discussion that we had was really powerful and impactful. We talked about fear, and we talked about how fear can sabotage Christian couples and Christian relationships. And so I wanted to take that a step further. And I wanted to really talk to you guys, especially if you're a single Christian woman, about how to overcome the fear of waiting for God to move in your single season. So let me just do a real quick introduction. Let me wave here. Um, For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Selina Almodovar. I'm a Christian relationship author and coach, and it is my calling, my passion in this online space to help single Christian women, Christian couples, married couples to really lean on their faith and redirect their focus back on God in order to set, establish, develop, and grow and nurture that relationship status that they have been praying for. So, I'm so excited that you guys are here with me today. I'm going to go ahead on Instagram and click over to the title. That way, you guys have kind of an idea of what I'm talking about. And I did kind of take notes today. I feel like yesterday when I went live, I was just so excited and I was so passionate and I was just kind of bouncing everywhere. But I want you to know that this can also be a discussion. Okay. Like I have my points, I have my thoughts. I prayed about this and God gave me some things to like really bring up to you guys. But if you have a question, if you have thoughts, if you want to say something because this is a topic that you're really passionate about, or maybe it's been on your heart lately, then let's talk about it. Let's put this in the comment section. I have both comments up for Instagram as well as for YouTube and Facebook. So we can have this whole discussion, okay? I don't want to take up too much of your evening because I know time is super precious and valuable. So I'm going to go ahead and share what I got to say, and then I'll be on the receiving end to hear what you have to say. And we should be done in about 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, depending on how the conversation goes. So overcoming the fear of waiting for God to move in your single season. I am a Christian, okay? I love the Lord. I trust the Lord. I have faith in the Lord. But everybody has feels some kind of way when it comes to waiting, okay? Everybody, you can't sit here and tell me that you have been 100% completely content, completely set and focused on God, obedient in God during a season of waiting. I feel like the season of waiting, whether you're waiting to find a man, you're waiting to get married, you're waiting for your boyfriend to pop the question, whether you're waiting for a job or you're waiting for a financial breakthrough or you're waiting to receive a house, whatever you're waiting for a baby or something like that, whatever you're waiting for, that is the season that God stretches you the most. That is the season where you feel like you're being attacked the most, where temptations just come out of nowhere the most. That you feel your weakest the most, you feel most frustrated the most. Like I just feel like this is the season where it's almost like a boot camp season. Like God is preparing you for that breakthrough, and he is using this time, this waiting season, to really just mold you and stretch you and cause you to lean on him in that time, right? He's causing you to do this. Now, I'm not saying he's making it hard on you because we don't know, his ways are not our ways, but there's definitely room and opportunity for you to fall back on God and to lean on God during the season of waiting, especially when you've been doing it for a really long time and it's really starting to get on your nerves. Like, let's just put it out there. The season of waiting is annoying, right? It sucks. It's terrible. It's frustrating. It's hard. It's challenging, right? And everybody feels it. So the first thing I want to say when it comes to overcoming the fear of waiting for God is you're not alone. Okay. Everybody feels this way. And I don't think it makes you less of a Christian or less of a woman of faith or a woman of God to feel and acknowledge your feelings, to feel like, yes, I'm done. I'm very weary. I'm very tired of being tired, right? Like it's okay to be that way because you are human. And the more you acknowledge your weakness, the more God is able to become stronger in you, right? The Bible says his strength is, what is that? It is in your weakness that he is stronger, right? So it's kind of like just by acknowledging, like, yes, this season of waiting is terrible. Like, I want to get out of it as soon as possible. Like, yes, we will. wait on the Lord. And yes, our faith will build in this time. And yes, you guys know this is a process. And yes, I'm sure you're sick and tired of everybody encouraging you, like, oh, just keep waiting. God's going to be there. You keep hearing it and you're just like, okay, all right, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Like, you don't want to hear it anymore, right? That's okay. Like, it's okay to be real with God because God knows where you're at because he has you there, right? He placed you there. He didn't move you yet. He didn't bring forth anybody yet. He didn't bring the relationship up. He knows exactly what he's doing in this situation. And so for you to be genuine about how you feel, for you to expose your heart, right? Like, don't put face on, don't show, like, don't put a mask on and be like, oh, I'm just trusting in God, I'm just leaning on God, everything's fine, everything's fine. But in your heart you're like, F this, like, I'm tired of this, like, I'm upset, I'm frustrated. I'm pretty sure God would rather see your genuine heart, and he would rather feel your genuine feels, because that's when you go to him, and that's when you lean on him genuinely, that's when you're calling on him genuinely, that's when you're like, God, I'm here. That's when you're willing to receive genuinely, right? So real recognize real, right? And so when you are feeling these things, I don't want you to feel shame. I want you to know that you're not alone in that, because everybody goes through that in a season of waiting. And the more you recognize your real feelings, your real emotions, your real thoughts about where you're at, the closer you're going to get to God, because the more open you're able to receive God and whatever he has for you, whether he's going to give you patience, or he's going to give you another part of the process, or he's going to give you another stretching season, right, to help you grow and step out of things so that he could prepare you for new things, right? Or he's going to give you that breakthrough wherever he has you. The third thing I want you, or I'm sorry, the second thing that I want to share with you, besides the encouragement, is whenever you're feeling like, man, I don't want to wait, I feel like I'm missing my moment, I feel like I'm getting too old, or I feel like my moment is passing me, like you're feeling the FOMO, like the fear of missing out, or you're feeling like it's happening too slow and everybody else is rushing past you, right? Whenever you're getting into that fearful mindset, I want you to please open your Bible and look at all of the ways that God has shown you people who were in your situation, and people who struggled with the weight, and people who chose to take matters into their own hands. Look at what happened to them. Okay. Maybe you're not familiar with reading your Bible like that. Like, maybe the stories just aren't popping up in your head. I have two examples that I could give to you. I'm not a pastor, first of all. I'm not a preacher. I did not go to seminary school, but I do love the Lord, and I have read quite a bit of his word. And whenever I think of being in a season of waiting, right, I think of two examples off the top of my head. And one just came to mind to me as I was speaking to you. And the first example is King Saul. Okay. King Saul was the very first king. First of all, the Israelites, they didn't want God to be their king. So they said, make us a God, make us a king that we could look to, and he could fight for us, and he could claim territory, do all these things that you were doing, but we don't see you, we don't hear you, we don't recognize you. So give us a king instead. Make him good looking, make him, do all these things. And God was like, listen, if this happens, you're going to become a slave to him, right? You're going to have to give money to him. You're going to have to do what he says. You're going to have to follow him, right? And you're going to follow a man instead of the God who brought you into freedom, who brought you all these things. You've seen my miracles, but you still want that? Okay, cool. Give the people what they want, right? So they gave him Saul. Saul was a very tall, handsome gentleman. He had the spirit of the Lord that fell upon him once he got anointed to become king. He, was moving in conquering kingdoms because he was walking in the ways of the Lord. But there was a season in his life where he was in waiting, and he chose not to wait anymore. I pulled it up on my laptop. Let me go ahead and check it out. And you could jot this down if you want. It is found in First Samuel chapter 13, verse 13. And I'll just read it to you real quick, because I got the two cameras here and I got my laptop there, and I feel so awesome about that. The verses say, right before Saul's battle against the Philistines, Saul does not want to wait for Samuel, who was the prophet at the time. He doesn't want to wait as he instructed. Now he was supposed to wait for Samuel to do a sacrifice because only the priests, only the people, the people of the temple, they were only allowed to do the religious ceremonies, the sacrifices, all those things. Saul was the king. He was not the priest, right? Which is why we have Jesus, because he was both. Hallelujah. Samuel was supposed to do the religious sacrifices, the procedures before knowing whether or not he should go into battle. Saul was growing weary. He was getting tired. He was feeling like, I'm going to miss out. This battle's, I need to do something. I need to act, right? Instead, Saul disobeys and offers a sacrifice by himself. So he stepped out of his jurisdiction. He stepped out of his authority as king and decided to do the priestly things, right? Which was completely uncalled for. Not even, wasn't even allowed to do that. Because Saul refuses to listen to God, Samuel says that he has forfeited the hope of an eternal dynasty in Israel. What does that mean? Because he chose to disobey, right? And this is where that phrase obedience is greater than sacrifice, right? Obedience is greater than sacrifice. We always hear that. That's where that's from. Okay? So because Samuel didn't get there in time, and because Saul took matters into his own hands, he forfeited the lineage of him and his family being the kings of Israel, right? That then turned into David's line, right? And that's where we get Jesus, because Jesus came from David. Of course, if you think about it that far ahead, we see that God still had a plan all along, right? But nevertheless, Saul lost a lot. He risked a lot and he lost a lot. Sister girl, if you are watching this and you're like, I feel like I'm going to, I pray to God. I just didn't hear from him. But this guy keeps texting me, or this guy keeps wanting to pursue me. And you don't have a good answer. God didn't give you a clear answer. Or you're not feeling total, complete peace about the situation, but you feel like you got to do something and God didn't move. Listen, obedience is greater than sacrifice. I would rather you, from friend to friend, I would rather you just continue to wait. Continue to be like, I didn't hear from God yet, or I'm just not ready yet. There's nothing wrong with saying, I'm just not ready yet. I'm just not ready to pursue this or to see where this could grow and develop. There is nothing wrong with that, especially if this person is supposed to be your husband, if this is supposed to be the serious relationship you've been praying for. Trust me, that person will wait. They'll be like, oh, that's fine. You want to know why? Because in their mind and in their head, they already see you as their wife. So they're just like, what's another week? What's another month? What's another season? I know I'm going to end up with her. So that's fine. But you have to be obedient to what God is telling you to do, because there might be something there that needs to get worked out. There might be something in you that needs to get worked out. There might be something in the situation or in the dynamics or in the environment. There might be something in an outer circle, right, that you guys are connected with that needs to be cleared in order for things to work out between you guys. But if you take matters into your own hand and you risk something by choosing the sacrifice instead of the obedience, then you might be rushing into something. He might not be the right person. That relationship might go wrong. You might stumble into old habits. You might fall into temptations, and everything that you have been working up for is going to come crashing down. Not to mention how you're going to feel about yourself, because you're like, man, I was doing good and I was waiting on God. And this, I had my heart on God, and then I looked away. And now you're going to be filled with this shame. You're going to be filled with this guilt. You don't need that in your life, all because you decided you didn't want to wait a little bit longer, right? So this is my first example. Go back to the book, read the whole story of King Saul and how he continued not to wait, how he continued to put matters into his own hands. He ended up becoming crazy. He ended up losing everything, and he lost it for his family for generations to come, because they were no longer the kings of Israel. They were no longer that royal lineage, right? So Not to say that God's not going to do that to you, but I am saying that there is a lot at stake if you choose not to obey God, right? There is a lot at stake if you choose to be disobedient and not wait. And I know that waiting feels forever, but God is very purposeful. He is very detailed. He's very meticulous. He's very precise. Like, I mean, think about the way he describes the creation. Think about the way he describes how Noah built the ark. Why would they come up with all these measurements? Like, I don't care what the measurements are of how to build an ark. Like, why is that in there? It's like how he built the tabernacle. Wow, like 17 pomegranates was dipped in gold and had 17 olive leaves, and you know what I'm saying? Like they like I'm exaggerating, but the details are so precise. Why? Why are they so precise? Because God is precise. God is a God of precision. So if there's something in your life, in your single season that you're just not figuring out, that's only because you don't see it. It doesn't mean that every piece of that single season is particularly precisely in place for a purpose, right? And God is moving those pieces and aligning them to your purpose, to your calling of finding love, and to your calling of having the relationship that you've been praying for. Now, let's not get it twisted. If God put something in your heart, right? If God put a desire in your heart, then surely something's going to come from that. Something's going to be birthed from that because He wants you to walk in that way, right? So if you feel like God spoke to me, I'm going to have a husband. I desire to have a relationship. I desire to be with somebody. I desire to have this in my life. I don't think that that makes you thirsty or depressing or anything. I think God put that in your heart. And so if He put that in your heart, then let it be so and let it be done, but let it be done in His plan, in His timing, right? So King Saul, he messed up, right? Who else was who else was impatient? Who else was impatient? Let's think about this. Who else was afraid that God had forgotten them and took matters into their own hands and did some crazy stuff and then reacted? Who do you think? Who do you think? I'll give you a guess. Figure it out. Somebody share in the comments. Who do you think? Who do you think in the Bible was in a season of waiting and then all of a sudden decided to take matters into their own hands and was like, you know what? We haven't heard from God. We haven't seen God. We haven't seen Him move lately. So why don't we just do this instead? Who do you think that was? Sarah and Abraham. Yes, that's a good guess. Abraham and Sarah. Yeah, we're going to take matters to our own hands. Listen, I wasn't even thinking about them. But yes, them too. Because what did they want? They wanted a child. And what did God say? God said, you're going to get a child. But what did Sarah do? Sarah was like, what if I just make the child by any means necessary and then I'll raise them or they'll be here. And then that's the baby, right? And then how did that turn into? It turned into Esau. Esau became the clan of the Edomites. The Edomites are the people who were attacking the Israelites and had war with the Israelites all that time, right? They were never at peace with each other. And so, yes, yes, but God had a plan for them, right? Because out of their seed came the royal lineage, came Jesus, right? Out of their seed came Isaac and then Jacob and so on and so on and so forth, right? So that was one thing. I was going to talk about the Israelites. So as you can see, the more you start looking back to God, the more you start saying, who else is in the same position as me? The more God will help you see it. And then by seeing it, you can research it, you can reflect on it, and then you could grow your in strength. You can grow in encouragement. You can grow in enlightenment, right? But if you out here just wandering by yourself, trying to take matters to your own hands, history will repeat itself. I was going to talk about the Israelites wandering in the wilderness, right? Moses went up to the mountain. Moses was about to do the 10 commandments. He had the big cloud over the mountain. I want to say it was for 40 days. Okay. And so the Israelites were looking down and they're like, man, I think Moses done forgot about us. He's up there chilling with God. And I just feel like we should just, why don't we just make a cap? Like, why don't we have our own God down here? Okay. What if God is up there and we'll have our God down here and everybody will be happy and we'll start seeing the miracles again and we won't be forgotten and we will pay attention to him because unlike that God, we're going to pay attention to there. He's going to pay attention to, you know what I mean? They started taking matters into their own hands, right? And time again, they started to take matters into their own hands. God's not there for me today. Even though he was there for you to save you, even though he was there for you to provide for you, even though he was there for you to comfort you in the past when you needed him, today, in this particular moment, when you see fit, all of a sudden he's not there for you. So therefore, you're going to take matters into your own hands. I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know where this came from. I wasn't prepared to say this, but somebody needs to hear it. Okay. Just because he's not there every second of the day the way you want him to be, like a genie in a lamp, does not mean that he is not providing for you from the past, present, and in the future. Okay. So we have to take a check on ourselves and we have to go back into the past and realize, like, man, God was there. Okay. God was there. Okay. He was there too. So therefore, by the pattern, God's going to be here with me right now. God's gonna bring something to me right now that's going to strengthen me, that's going to renew my faith, that's going to help me in this season, that's going to help me overcome my fear that I'm missing out. God's going to show me that I'm not missing out. God's going to provide for me some kind of thing, a way, a connection, a education piece, a service, something, a book, something, a TV show. He's going to provide something for me to remind me that I don't need to be afraid of his timing because his timing is always perfect, right? I don't need to be afraid of what he's doing in my life because I know it's for a purpose and I know that there must be something here. I always say this to myself because I've been coaching and I've been writing books for 10 years. Okay, I started my business in 2012. I'm not Joyce Myers, right? I have like maybe one viral article back in 2015. Okay. It was crazy. And I've had clients here and there, but it's not like I'm traveling around the world, right? It's not like I'm being invited to all of these summits and conferences and all this stuff. And so there will be a time in my life and in my earlier days like 2015, 16, 17, in my earlier days where I'm like, what's going on? How come this isn't happening? Why am I not reaching people? Why am I not doing that? There is a process, right? I was not this good. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but to have two cameras and to have graphics and to be able to post consistently and to be able to have a message, to be able to go live. Can we talk about just going live and just making reels? Like that took work. That took development. Okay. So for you guys who are single, there might be something that you're missing that you're going to need. There might be a skill set. There might be a mindset. There might be a belief, a faith level that you're going to need in your relationship that you have not yet built, that it is still in the developing process, right? Maybe there's an insecurity that you need to overcome. Maybe there is a belief of how you're going to treat that person or how that person's going to treat you. Maybe there's an expectation. Maybe your standards need to get a little higher. Maybe your boundaries need to get a little thicker. Maybe something needs to happen in your life and it hasn't happened yet because you're still in the development stages. If you go back to my YouTube back in 2015, just wow. Okay. Just wow. I don't want to delete it because I want the process to be there. Like God bless the process. But where you're at now and where you're going to be when you meet that person are going to be two completely different people. The person that who will be ready to receive that lifelong relationship with that man that you've been praying for, two completely different women. You're going to be like, I don't even know her. I don't even recognize that person that I used to be because of how much I have overcome in my single season. The reason why I talk so much about single seasons and single women, because I'm married. I've been married for 10 years. I have 3 kids, right? But the reason why I talk so much to you guys about this and I motivate you and I encourage you is because it was in my single season that it was the most pivotal season of my life. It was the most life changing, transformative season of my life with my mindset, with my faith walk, with what I desired in as a person, with rediscovering myself and what I needed to grow and who I wanted to become, right? All of this stuff happened in my single season. And so I know how precious it is. But the enemy knows that too. Because guess what? The enemy can't stand families. The enemy don't want you getting married because marriage happened before the fall. Marriage happened before sin ever came into existence. And so naturally he wants to break it apart. He never wants to see you married. Of course he's going to destroy your love life. Of course he's going to want to talk down to you and spit all these lies into your ears and tell you, oh, the clock is ticking. Oh, you still don't have anybody. Of course, he's going to have people who are insecure in themselves project that insecurity into you and have them question you about your timeline and about your whereabouts and about how come you're not with so and so. And oh, you guys look cute together, but they have no idea what the background is between who you are and who that person is and whether or not you'd even be a good fit in the first place. Listen, let me calm down because I'm getting very passionate, right? Obviously. But these are the things that you have to think about. Whenever the fear happens, fear is not of God. The only thing you should be fearing when it comes to God is fear of the Lord, right? And the only thing you should be fearing of God is disobeying Him when He told you to wait. That's the only fear that should be in your single season. Everything else is a lie. Everything else is a scam. Everything else is a telemarketer. Okay. Treat your fear like a telemarketer who is constantly bothering you, trying to sell you something or trying to see if you pick up, and you hear them in the background and you're just like, what is this? Like you have to treat it like that. You have to treat it like it's just despicable and disgraceful because there is something being developed in this current season. There's something being developed, and you have to recognize that. And you have to make that development bigger than the desire to be like, I just want to get out of this season. You have to make the development bigger than the desire of getting out of the season. Because if you get out of that too fast, it will never fully develop. Listen, I used to be a photography major in high school. I went to art school in high school, and my major was photography. And this was back in the day before digital cameras made their grand debut. Okay, like yes, there were digital cameras, but they were super clunky and they were very expensive. So when I was in high school, as a high schooler, right, we did old school film, dark room, black and white photos. Okay, straight up. And there's something about the developing room. Everything has to be dark. There's no light because if you put light into the developing room, then your picture gets exposed because light photography is just an image of light. That's all it is. And then the shadows make the shapes and you know what I'm saying? So when you go into the developing stage, there's a process. So first you have your picture and you expose the light onto the picture based on the film. You know, back in the day, the negatives were flip flopped, so it was a negative film. You put the film, the light goes on, it goes onto the picture. And now you have to put it through a developing phase, which is a series of chemicals. Okay. You're putting it through the wash of the chemical to make the light to make that image stick onto the paper. Okay. And then you rinse it. And then you have to put a filter chemical on there, which makes it stick. It has to make those chemicals stick so that your picture doesn't further get exposed to light. Okay. If you continuously think, oh, my picture's done, I'm just going to take it out, then, and you didn't protect it, you didn't put all of the extra coatings, you didn't do the right procedures, you didn't let it wash long enough, your picture will get exposed the minute you take it out of the room, and all of that work is going to be gone. Regardless of if you captured it in the camera or not, regardless of how good your film is, if you don't put your paper through the process of development, then it will be exposed and it will turn black. Your picture will be gone. It will be imageless. Take that imagery and apply that to your single life. God has you in a development season, a season where you are being processed, where you are being rinsed out thoroughly, where you are being fixed so that what He's pouring into you will stay and not smear away, right? where you're being cleansed of all the chemicals so that you could become a glossy or a matte, beautiful finishing touch, right? And then he's going to bring you out to become a masterpiece, something that is going to be framed, something that's going to be highlighted, something that people are going to look at and be like, dang, I want that hashtag relationship goals, right? Because you went through a process. So don't overlook the process simply because you are afraid that this process is taking too long, because you're afraid that you're going to miss out, because you're afraid that somebody's going to come along and miss it. Trust me, your husband won't miss you. Your husband won't overlook you. Your husband is not going to ignore you. Your husband is going to see you. He's going to lock in on you and he's going to do whatever it takes to make you his because he has already declared it like, I'm going to marry her. I'm going to marry her. That is going to be my wife. And if she needs to wait, we'll wait. If she needs to go to counseling, we'll go to counseling. If she wants me to meet her mom, I'll meet her. I'll pick her mom up for church. I don't care what I got to do. I'm going to make this woman mine because I love her and this is where I'm at and this is what I'm willing to do for her. Okay? You're not going to miss your husband. You're not gonna. I keep saying it because I feel like I need to keep saying it. I feel like somebody needs to hear it to make it stick. You are not going to miss your husband. Your husband is not going to overlook you. He's not going to ignore you. He's not going to overpass you. It's not like he's like in a crowd and he sees you and then he keeps looking the other way and then he's like, oh, there, that one. No, he's gonna and everything's going to stop and he can't take his eyes off you because he's to him you are going to be the most beautiful person. You're going to be the most radiant person. You're going to have that spirit that's on fire for God and he's going to be like, oh my goodness, this is my answer. The Lord has answered my prayer today. He's going to see you. He's going to see you. He will see you and he will know that is my woman. That is the one God has given to me. Okay. So it doesn't matter how much time is going to pass. It doesn't matter what the enemy tries to tell you. It doesn't matter what doubts you may feel in your mindset. What you have to do is consistently look to God. What you have to do is consistently go back to his word and remind yourself of what other people did. Learn from their mistakes so that you don't take it upon yourself to make the same mistakes. And what you have to do is you have to let that process develop you. You have to let that process fix you. You have to let that process rinse you out and cleanse you clean. Okay. The last thing I want to say is help is always there. Help is always there. Help is always in your vicinity. Why? Because you're not doing the single season alone. You are not doing this single season alone. God has never left. God has never left. God has always been right next to you. And so, whatever help you need, whether that's uplifting encouragement, whether that's a mentor to pour into you, whether that's a group that's going to support you and keep you accountable, whether that's a coach that needs to, put you in like in the right alignment of where you want to be, whether that's a friend who sticks beside somebody, something, right? Like I said, there's a book or devotional or a sermon series, right? I would not be surprised if the very thing you need right now in this season, your pastor is getting ready to talk about in the Sundays to come. I wouldn't be surprised. Is it odd or is it God that these things continuously happen in your single season because God is watching over you. He is providing for you. He is giving you the manna that you need for the day that you have so that He can continuously go back to Him. You can continuously look to Him. You can continuously trust in Him. And you can continuously know with expectation that your single season is here for a reason because the relationship is going to be purposeful, is going to be purpose driven, and it's going to glorify God at the end. Okay? How can I help you? How can I help you in this single season? If you wait till tomorrow, right now, it is August 9th. It is Wednesday, August 9th. If you wait till tomorrow, Thursday, August 10th, I am about to announce a free event. Free, gratis, free, right? I'm about to announce this event for Christian single women, single Christian women, to help you map out the steps that could give you some practical wisdom that you can take. I'm not giving you the steps, you are, but I'm going to show you how to do this in my free event, and I'm going to give you the details starting tomorrow. All right. So if that is something that you want to hear about, if that is something that you want to hold on to, then stay tuned. Okay. Or maybe put in the comments like, remind me or let me know or keep me updated. And I will personally send you the information tomorrow so that you have this information so that you can start having some kind of support in this area of your life. All right. Maybe you already have support. This is your sign. Me, hello. This is your sign to go out and seek that support. Okay, maybe you already have somebody that you haven't reached out to in a long time, a spiritual mentor, a pastor, a Bible study group, something, right? A best friend, something, and you haven't reached out to them because you started feeling afraid to really talk about this because you're like, man, I feel like a broken record. I feel like that. Mm-mm, mm-mm. I'm telling you right now, stop that thinking, stop that mindset, stop those assumptions. Go and receive the help that God has put in your life. Go and receive the wisdom that God has placed in your life. Go and receive the support and the accountability and the education and the encouragement and all of the stuff that you need, that you require to overcome your fear of waiting on God. Go and receive it right now. Don't let your fear of, oh, I'm ashamed of talking about it. Oh, I've been talking about it for so long. Don't do that to yourself. You're self sabotaging yourself. Don't do this to yourself. God put these people in place for a reason. God put these things in place for a reason. Go after them. Okay. There is no shame in being obedient and waiting. There is no shame in receiving the blessings that God has given you in this season. So that is what I'm going to leave you with. That's what I'm going to encourage you with. We went a little bit over because I felt really passionate about some of these things. But I promise you, if you liked this live and if you liked hearing what I had to say, and if I put a fire underneath you and I felt, I shook you up a little bit in a good, loving way, then again, stay tuned to the information that I'm going to put out there tomorrow about this free live event that I'm going to be doing very, very soon. All right. So that is what I have to say. Does anybody have anything that they want to share on Instagram or on Facebook or on YouTube? Is there anything that you guys want to say? I see a lot of hearts, a lot of fires, a lot of crying. Hopefully it was a beautiful cry that you had or just a beautiful, sweet revelation that you had. I see some praise hands. Yes, girl. I'm so glad that this was able to encourage you guys and just inspire you guys. And again, for those of you guys who don't know me, this is what I do. This is my passion. My name is Selina Almodovar, and I'm a Christian relationship coach and author. And it is my mission in this online space to seek out people like you, single Christian women, Christian couples, Christian married people, and help them lean on their faith and redirect their sights back to God so that they can be able to set, establish, develop, and purposefully grow that relationship status that they have been praying for. And I hope that that is something that you were able to receive today. I hope that this encouraged you to keep looking to God, keep trusting in God, especially in your single season. And I hope that this helps you understand how you can overcome your fears when it comes to waiting for God to move in your single season. It is 9:14. I have went past on my time, but that's okay. I'm glad I was here to help you guys and inspire you guys. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. And I will be back live next week. And tomorrow's going to be that great news that you guys are going to hear. So make sure you catch it. Make sure you stay tuned to me. You follow me. You put my notifications on so that you receive it as soon as it comes out. I'm very excited to share it with you. I've been talking about it kind of in bits and pieces. I've been talking about it since March. Like it's been a long time. It's been a very long time that I've been sharing little bits and pieces. And so I'm finally going to reveal a lot of stuff tomorrow. I'm finally going to reveal a lot of stuff tomorrow. My email list will receive the news first. because you guys are my heart. So if you're not on my email list, there are two ways that you can join my email list. The first one is by signing up to receive my Sunday devotionals. I have the link in both of the descriptions, as well as in this description for my live, or the link in my bio. And the second way is I have a free handout that you guys could have right now. It's called the Love and Faith Bible Roadmap. And this offers you 20 go to Bible verses to help you when you're struggling in your single season. So, season of waiting, right? That's a really big struggle that people have. You can automatically receive guidance and wisdom straight from the Word of God Himself by going to my handout and by clicking on that. There's also a small little teaching to help you take it up a notch with this handout. You can download that for free by going to the link in my bio, or by going in the description of the video that is posted on Facebook and YouTube. So, two ways that you guys could get on my email list today, and two ways that you could get the news first before everyone else. Everyone else, you guys are going to receive it sometime later in the day, but promise you, tomorrow there's going to be some really good news about a really awesome event that I've been working on to help you not only overcome your fear of waiting, but it's going to give you practical steps on how you can do just that in this single season. All right, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to go to bed. I've had a really long day. We had a family day today with my children and my husband, and it was just amazing. But with family days, there's a lot of energy, a lot of exhaustion. And so I'm tired now, but my cup is very full knowing that I was able to get with you guys today as well. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Bye.